That was a wrong choice. We were both here for that.
That is like the first time in a while I've made a terrible decision.
Girl, first of all,
I read it.
oh, so I definitely wasn't paying attention.
She's a bitch.
I need subtitles on my TV. You don't have subtitles. Because yes, boys and girls, she's his fucking project. I'm extra spicy.
Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, I can hear you too. Perfect. I have new headphones,
Oh, okay.
so I just wanted to make sure I could hear you. You look confused.
Yeah, and grateful that we fucking stopped reading as I'm trying to find any of the fucking sex.
Oh.
I found two almost scenes that basically go
Oh.
closed door.
Oh. That is unfortunate.
Okay.
Welcome. Hello. And you guys, listen. Welcome to our first DNF of the year.
Yes, so you heard that right. If you are here for the whole shebang, you might want to stop now because you will not get a whole story today. No, you won't.
No.
This week we attempted to read Plucked by the Orc by Jenna Larkin, which was our Regency pick. But when looking for a Regency pick, Crystal found an Orc one, and she's like, "We don't even need to know what it's about. Let's just read it." That was a wrong choice. We were both here for that, but
Yeah,
it
and I
was
don't
that
normally
was the
I
wrong
have and
choice.
that is like the first time in a while I've made a terrible decision.
I
Outside of my
backed you.
actual life. Outside
I
of my actual life.
I backed you,
I
but
know.
it was the wrong choice.
It was the wrong choice. So yes, if you guys are looking to listen to the full thing, that's not going to happen. But if you want to just hear us talk a little bit, stay, enjoy.
We tried really hard. I made it over 50% of the way before I was just like, no, I can't do it anymore.
And she
And then
literally called
skimmed the
me.
rest.
Yeah, she called me and she was telling me she was struggling. And I said, well, when you get to a point where you can't do it anymore, please call me back. 10 minutes later, I'm done.
It didn't take me long to get to
Uh-uh.
another trigger point.
No.
And I was
So,
like, no.
so we will cover part of the book for you, and then we will talk about who knows what. I don't know.
We don't know yet. Probably
We
the
haven't
book.
thought that far
Who
ahead.
knows? But yeah, so in all transparency, yeah, this didn't go the way we planned.
No.
But
But you know what?
life rarely
Sometimes
does.
life does not do what you want it to do.
On the bright side, I will say that since I skimmed the rest of the book so that I would A, know what kind of happened, and B, would see any kind of a cucumber rating because I was going to read those scenes. However, the part that basically was probably the reason why we chose this book was, orcs. That might have been even worse of a letdown than the reason why
How
we
is that? Did
DNF'd.
you just say the bright side? Because how is that the bright side?
Because we didn't have to read through it.
Oh,
Like we didn't
okay.
have to go through the whole thing.
I was
Like
like,
we
how
didn't
is that a
have to
bright
go
side?
through the whole book in enjoyment and then get to that.
Okay.
Like we
That makes
stopped
more
before.
sense, but I was
Sorry.
like, how is that the bright
Thank
side?
you for that clarification.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anywho, so this book is set in 1818, and Duncan's family are the only orcs in London. And as you can imagine, this does not help his case with the formidable ton, even if he is a duke. So his father, when he came from their home, was like the first orc there and was given the title of a duke, and now it has been passed down to Duncan as the eldest. Duncan is coming out of a show and is used to everyone avoiding his path. So he's just clumping around because he's gigantic. And he accidentally bumps into a woman selling flowers because she didn't just run for the hills at the sight of him. The woman, Iris, has quite the mouth on her. She demands Duncan apologize and makes it clear she isn't a fan of his people. The ton, not orcs, as he thought she meant. He tries to tell her that he's treated like an outcast as well, but she isn't hearing it, saying that he has no idea what it's like to be poor and hungry. Girl, first of all, why do you just make assumptions about people? You really shouldn't do that. It's really not cool. So,
You know what
strike one, not
happens
cool.
when you make assumptions?
Yes. Yes, we do. He tells her that she's clearly intelligent, that if she cleaned up her speech and learned the right things to wear and how to act, she could find a husband. Yep. That's how we start this book. And that was the first time that I wanted to DNF. In fact, he can help her. He's spent plenty of time studying humans. Just give him 2 weeks and he will have her marriage material. He even corrects her language and grammar the entire conversation. And let me just say that I don't remember this being the premise of this book, and I don't like it. And that's why that was the first time I wanted to DNF. And then I remembered to myself, I don't think we actually read the blurb when we picked this. But then I remembered to myself, wait, didn't we read the blurb last week?
And it was
But
really
then
long.
I remembered to myself, I probably wasn't paying attention, even if it was me who read it. I don't remember.
I read it.
Oh, so I definitely wasn't paying attention.
She's a bitch.
Like you pay attention when I talk.
I do actually. So I sit here and make sure
Sometimes
to pay
it
attention.
I need subtitles on my TV. You don't have subtitles. I need the words to
That's
anchor
just her
me.
telling me she doesn't care about me.
No, I don't care about this fucking book. Okay? Clearly. Sorry to this book, if anyone cared about it. And then I said that I hope it gets better than some man who plans to try to change a woman to help her get a man. Newsflash and spoiler alert, it doesn't. To myself. So
Yeah.
Iris wants to know what he will expect in exchange. She knows how men work. Yeah, this escalated real fast. She thought he was basically thinking she was a prostitute.
Well,
He assures her that he wants nothing. She says no either way. He lets her know where he lives in case she changes her mind and gives her a calling card with his address and hours. Later that night, Iris tells the whole story to her roommate Lottie and talks it out with her. Lottie tells her to try to go for it. Iris decides that she will call on the Duke the next day. Even though Duncan's card said calling hours were only between 2 and 5, Iris shows up at his door at 9 a.m. He's half irritated by this and half glad that she showed up at all and invites her in. Duncan shows her to the library and orders tea. He picks up a notebook and asks if she minds he takes notes as he's writing a book for orcs on humans. Iris does, in fact, mind. Duncan asks her what changed her mind to bring her there. She just says that she wants to better herself. They talk about that. Duncan circles back to his book again, even though she told him fucking no, and how important her story of working her way into the ton would be for it. That she could stay in his guest chambers, and he will pay for her half of the room with Lottie in exchange. Dude, let me I need this like a tally mark of all the ways that I was irritated by this book and needed to not read it. But Iris agrees and takes the offer. He calls for his housekeeper to show Iris to her rooms and get her settled. Duncan heads off to meet his brother, like he always does on Tuesdays and Thursdays. His brother, Albion, wants to know why he seems less miserable today. Duncan tells him about his new project. Because, yes, boys and girls, she's his fucking project.
yeah,
Tally that again. This could
I
be a
did
drinking
not
game.
like when
Maybe you
they
should listen to
kept
this episode in the evening and take shots. Sorry, please proceed.
No, I think that part like really bothered me is like how much they just talked to her like she was just a project and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Yeah. Very clinically clinical and stupid.
Yeah. Duncan's brother is slightly horrified because Duncan just can't play with people's lives like that. Yeah, buddy, that's what we're saying. But then, literally, all that good faith flies out the window because Duncan seems to think it's foolproof, and then his brother suggests that they bet on it, that he can have her ready for the St. Valentine's Day ball. Well, we had good timing picking this in February, apparently. That is just over 10 days away, and will have her pass for a lady of the ton. And if Duncan can pull it off, Albion will take over social duties as the eldest in his family in their realm, something Duncan is not a fan of. If Duncan loses, he loses his horse. So now, not only is she a project, but she's a wager between these men. Tally, take another shot. After a bath, Iris dresses for bed, which is strange and a fucking time warp because she showed up at 9 a.m. and was shown to her room for a bath while he went to lunch, and now it's fucking bedtime when she gets out of the tub. She finds a kitten under her bed. It runs out of the room, and Iris runs after it, but smacks straight into Duncan, who's holding the kitten. He tells Iris the kitten's name is Boudica, and I thought this was going to go somewhere. It never went anywhere, unless somehow I missed it in the last like 20% of the book. Duncan tells her that he had lunch with his brother, and he had the idea of presenting Iris to Lady Bellingham, who hosts a reception before the social season, that would be a great trial to see if she will pass for society. It's on St. Valentine's Day, which is 10 days away, even though literally a few hours ago they said it was over 10 days away. We'll circle back to that again. She thinks this is an impossible feat. He assures her not impossible. She insists on setting up a payment plan with him for all his expenses once this is over. He assures her that he doesn't expect repayment, that they made a deal. They agree to meet bright and early the next day to begin. In the morning, they meet for the first lesson. Iris is late, though, which does not make Duncan happy. He shows her the cards he has made demonstrating the pronunciation of words used by the ton. They spend the next 3 days with 8-hour lessons daily in the library, working on pronunciation, wearing heels, posture, proper walking. Even though Iris is seeing Duncan for all of these hours of lessons, she finds it weird that he never dines with her or keeps her company outside of the lessons. Bitch, you're
That's
seeing
not
him
what.
for 8 hours a day.
Yeah. Also, that's not what
How
he's
the
there
fuck
for.
needy are you? Right, right. What is this? Take another shot.
Let's just continuously drink for Ariel being just mad.
It was damn irritable. I also need to tell you that this book was what, less than 300 pages, and I tried
Yeah.
to read it for a week, and that's as far as I got. I read like 5 other books in between. Let's be clear. So she tries to ask him to eat with her, but he tells her that he's her tutor and they need to create a respectable distance. She asks if it's because he doesn't like her.
No, it's because you guys are
Bitch,
tutoring.
this is fucking wild. I am really sorry. If you didn't want an episode of me complaining, I'm sorry. After going around and around a couple times, because I'm not going to talk about that, Duncan relents and tells her that he's meeting his brother for lunch, but will have dinner with her. Iris asks if they can have Orcan food. When they do meet for dinner, Duncan uses it as an etiquette lesson so that he can teach her how to eat properly and use the right silverware. And, of course he does. But he also shares with her the differences between Orcan meals and human ones. Just like most things, Orcans prefer simplicity and ease, while humans seem to prolong things and add many extra steps or rules. She does so well at the meal that Duncan tells her that they must put her to the test out and about. Iris says St. Valentine's Day isn't for another 10 days, which they literally said it was 10 days 3 days ago. Do they not have calendars?
Bitch, I don't know.
I thought she could read. I thought they had this whole conversation about the fact that she could read, and he was so like excited for her because, oh, you can read?
Yeah, because she very clearly says she can read, but apparently she's just stupid.
but he is so impressed by her
Why are we
intellect.
so fucking angry?
It's because how fucking hard is this?
Apparently, really hard.
Duncan tells her that no, that they'll pay a visit to his mother. They'll create a cover story, and his mother often has visitors, so it'll be a perfect chance with multiple people. Duncan says he will see if she's available for the next day. Duncan arrives at his mother's house with his brother 10 minutes before Iris is told to arrive. His mother isn't overly thrilled at meeting a lady friend of Duncan, since the last time he brought one, things didn't end so well. Apparently, Duncan was super into and obsessed with this woman, and he thought the feeling was mutual. And when he proposed to her, she laughed in his face because he was an orc. So, fun times. Albion is beside himself with glee at the impending show that he's about to watch. That was the only funny part. Like, let's be real. That is the only part that kind of brought it up for me a little bit. So, three of his mother's callers arrive. It's this woman and her son and I don't know, some other dude of the church or something. I wasn't really paying attention. Well, I was, but I didn't write it down.
Were you? Were you actually paying
I
attention?
was really irritated. When Iris comes, she is the picture of fashionable ladies and greets Duncan's mother than everyone else. His mother's friend's son, obviously, is quite enamored by Iris. She keeps up her act quite well for a while until she starts to slide into a story about her friend Lottie in response to a question. It's okay because the lady's son laughs at the end, thinking Iris told just a risque poem. And so then everyone's cool again, which, covers it up for everyone except the orcs. The next day, Duncan praises Iris for her performance, which feels like a slap in the face for Iris, saying, "You don't think I was myself? Bitch, what did you just spend 3 days doing?" And he said this was a test. I am so fucking confused. And then he tells her that he wants to introduce her out in the world as a countess. Like, boy, she barely scraped by in that fucking room as a fucking regular lady from who God knows where, and you want to try to set her up as fucking a countess from who knows where? Nope, I was done. This was 50% through. We still didn't have any orc sex, and all it was is condensation.
Yeah, condensation? Condensation, guys. Condensation. That's fucking funny.
But then I decided to skim the rest to see, and there was one scene where he licks her nipples and then it fades to black and she wakes up in his bed the next day. And then there was another scene where like he had his dick out and it was like pressing against her thigh and then he was like licking her skin and then I think he licked her. I think he went down on her a little bit. Maybe it was very vague and unclear. And then again, we fade again. That's all I searched the word cock in this book, and those were the only mentions.
Yikes.
So, because I went back and searched after to make sure I didn't miss anything,
Yeah.
and I was just like, so yeah. So that's where I stopped.
Yeah. So, clearly,
What was your experience, Crystal?
okay, so my experience is I forget
Conversation.
why I don't read Regency. I forgot. And I was like, you know what? That's
I
gonna be
like
fine.
Regency, but this was just.
I struggle a lot with the language usually.
Mhm.
My brain just has a hard time. But then again, you grew up loving that kind of stuff, and that's
Right.
not the stuff that I read. So I struggle usually just like how things are spoken and written. But then like it was also weird because like her sentences would be in the quote unquote poor language, but then also so like forgetting her different letters in her words, which is fine.
They overemphasized
But
her.
then like a couple sentences later, she would speak perfectly fine.
And then when she was talking, as she was trained with in the mothers, it was like there would be like all kinds of periods, and as she was taking breaths to properly enunciate, it would be like, "So how is the weather today?"
Yeah, so
And
it's just a
you think
lot of
that's
like,
okay and normal? And I don't want to
yeah.
read that. Just saying.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of, I don't know. It was harder to read for
Annoyance?
me. So, and I struggled, and it wasn't that long of a book, and that's the
No.
problem. And normally, like, I can read.
I feel like we need a redo. Whether we need a redo Orc or we need a redo Regency, I don't know, but we need to redo something.
The good news is, Ariel, after this wheel is over, we get a whole ass other new wheel, and we can throw one in there. Because if she starts throwing in random books, that will screw our entire schedule. And while our schedule is always already going to be weird as shit because I have to
Honestly,
move at
normally we
some
would have
point,
just scrapped and read a different book and you never would have known. But we're
but
just being
we
transparent and
we
this year has been
scrapped in
crazy.
in that. And normally, so typically if we're going to scrap a book, we at least have like a day or two before we're going to scrap a book. We scrapped it the day that we are recording. So every I'm sure everybody knows that I typically read the day of if we're reading, unless it's a longer book and then I start
I've
it
been waiting
beforehand.
for Crystal to get her input. She needs to start reading earlier.
But I can't. I this okay, so this time I actually probably would have read earlier, but also we doubled up on recording this week as full transparency because we are those people. And we recorded literally yesterday
Yeah.
for a special and I take care of those. And so I had to read that book and then also read this book. And so like I have a hard time crossing books. It's crossing swords in books is great, but like crossing books in real life for myself, not great. So it's just a little bit more difficult. But so yes, we scrapped this book literally day of recording, which we don't normally do, but here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. So any books that you're looking forward to reading?
So I really want to get back into our next book in our trilogy.
Yeah.
And I have been waiting and I'm about to dive into Gigi Styx's new book.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm into that. I have so many books going on right now. So that's kind of, but I've also been in a super Ice Planet Barbarian mood. I was dragging him out for a little while and I'm still kind of dragging him out, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been super doing a few of those a night. Sorry, a few chapters at night at least, you know.
Nice.
What have you been reading?
There's not too many that I'm currently reading. I want to read the Onyx Storm book so bad. It is literally sitting on my counter staring at me because it wants me to read it.
Hmm?
I want to
Mine's
read the
already on the
next book
shelf.
in the trilogy that we were just reading.
Yeah.
There's a couple other books. I know that the Sarah book is about to, the arc is about to come out. Fraudacity that's coming out this month in February. By the time this is out, it'll already be out, but just as a heads up, guys. And then I don't know. I want to start reading more books that are sitting on my bookshelf, but the problem right now is that I am going to have to start packing my stuff so that I can at some point
Move.
be prepared to move. So, unfortunately, that kind of puts like a little dent in some of my plans.
Mm.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to get back out of the reading slump that I was in for like the last half of last year where all I was reading was podcast books.
I'm
But it
reading
can be
a
really hard.
murder mystery with my seventh and eighth graders.
Ooh.
Hmm.
I there's a couple of Frida McFadden books I want to read because I like that style. I like her books a lot. So
Yeah.
there's a couple and I need to put them on my Kindle. Um yeah. I
Mine's
mean,
obviously a kid's one, but yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's things that sound great and we'll get there at some point.
But yeah, that's my adventures in bookland right now. Joe is reading. What's that book you got on the counter? Oh yeah. Joe's reading the Care of All series. That's right.
Gotcha.
Forgot the name for a second. What are you about, Grace?
I mean, Grace isn't reading anything.
I thought you said she was trying to read
She's been trying to read Fourth Wing for a
Fourth
while.
Wing. Okay, that's
Yeah,
what.
she's been trying to read that for a while, but she's 13 and not a book person, so
Yeah.
she's been struggling.
Yeah. Does
Honestly, I
she do
think she would.
better with like audio?
No, I think she would do better if she was sitting with me and we were reading next to each other because that's normally how she does it. But
Yeah.
we just haven't. And then with work and just the whole past month of just things have been wild.
You just haven't
We
been
really haven't
much.
had time to do things like next week I'm busy, so like so it's like it's fine, but like I said, trying to do Onyx Storm. It's just looking at me from my counter.
Hmm.
And yeah, we'll see.
Um, who was your favorite character in the book that we read this week?
Nobody. The flowers.
The ones that spilled into the street. I
Yeah.
don't know, like Albion was okay for like half a second and then
Mm-hmm.
he was
That's the problem
irritating.
is most of them were good for about half a second and then they were not.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe the housekeeper. Who was your least favorite?
Hey, everybody. Just kidding.
For real.
But really, but for reals,
But for reals. For real, for real.
don't ever do that again. So, Amazon gives it a 3.7 and Goodreads a 3.3.
And obviously I DNF'd it.
Yeah.
So it is a 1-star DNF for me or nothing.
Yeah.
But I am curious where others fall in this.
Yeah.
If others agree with us, let's check it out.
So there wasn't anything on Amazon because I looked. I think the only thing that I saw was someone commented that they had heard that the book cover was AI generated, but that was the
Oh.
only comment I saw.
Hmm.
And I went through like a bunch of the stuff. If I am pulling up, let's see, the plot had strong ideas but fell apart with too many plot holes and character traits were thrown to the side. But the okay,
True.
but hold on, ready? But the most disappointing part, how are you going to promise me monster fucking and then make the smut boring? And then wait. And then it says, wait, AI use down to 1 star. I don't know where the AI came from then. I wonder, was there AI used in writing the book? Oh,
That
no,
might
just for
explain why it's
cover.
all.
No, it
Oh,
says that it's rumor that the AI was used in the book cover, which kind of sucks because I like the cover. That's why I chose it.
it's too bad.
Someone said I basically hated every page.
Was it me? Did I write that?
No.
No.
We don't need
It
to
has
worry about
pretty low
AI
ratings
stealing all the
considering.
jobs yet. Yeah, actually, someone said that it was written by AI. So I'm actually curious.
Oh.
I'm curious because I don't, that would be, I'm not going to put that out in the world because I don't know at
Oh
all.
yeah, we don't need to worry about. Yeah, yeah, I see that. Yeah, because
I don't know
interesting.
though. So that is not something that I
We
have
want to perpetuate
researched.
if we don't know, right?
Right, exactly. So,
Yikes.
and a lot of
How
people
do we
like
find that
forward,
out? How would we research that?
that is a good question.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know. I will research.
Hmm.
Well, that was an adventure. And
Oh,
normally, like, we're not the people who look at reviews really either, because again, reviews are subjective. Is that the right word?
yeah,
Objective?
subjective.
Subjective?
Objective. Well, yeah, subjective.
Whatever. One of the two. And honestly, like, not every time have I read a book have the reviews reflected what I've read. Case in point, Ice Planet Barbarians. That one lady who was so
Yeah,
angry
but that
about
was
it.
one person versus how many are these reviews? Good Lord.
Well, there's not a lot of reviews on this book, so
Yeah, that's true.
you got to take into
Um,
account that part.
so for the pepper scale, I'm gonna rate this almost a poblano
Almost. Why?
because the poblano is like foreplay scenes
Oh,
or
okay.
one sex scene, and it was shitty.
Solid. I wasn't even gonna rate it because I didn't even get to that part. So, and I didn't look for it. But
Um,
you know what we do have to do? We head in for a
well,
new book.
survivability.
Oh, I don't know. I've been fine. I was gonna skip all that shit because I didn't finish the book. Ariel's keeping us on track here. Yeah, it'd be fine.
Yeah, I probably would have kicked him in the balls and ran away.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, but we get out of this Hovel
Oh,
slump by
thank
spinning a
fucking
new
goodness.
book. Spinning a new
Thank
book. Spinning the
Goodness.
wheel for a new book. That was the exact wording that probably should have been done, and I did not do that. So,
I knew what you meant.
mhm. So, are you ready to figure out what we're reading next week?
After this, I am so freaking ready.
All right. And let's spin it, baby. Under Your Scars,
Oh.
which is not a big book. And by that laugh, it sounds we're going to have a time. So great for me.
Please hold.
Oh, great. Oh, fuck me. Holy
This is.
shit, Ariel. It is almost 700 pages long.
Oops. That's my bad. Listen, okay?
Oh, look, you have almost the same name.
Listen. It's a dark romance that doesn't have an HEA up front. Spoiler alert. Maybe I shouldn't have spoiled that, but it's spoiled on the thing, so.
It is. It's spoiled in the description.
Yikes. I guess, yeah, it is a chunky boy.
So, this will make up for the short episode this week, guys.
Yes. Okay.
And we're starting March out with a fucking bang.
Right? Literally. Bang,
Literally.
bang into the. According to the FBI, I was considered a serial murderer after 3 kills. What do they call me after 52? They call me the silencer. One final bullet would have been all it took to stop me from taking another soul, and I would have been doing Meridian City a service by pulling that trigger. An angel crying for help stopped me that night, and I took 3 more lives for her. Then 3 turned into 8, then 8 turned into 20, and 20 turned into 21, and 21 turned into 23. Elena Young is the hero in my story, but I'm the villain in hers. And this is the kind of story where the villain gets the girl, even if it kills her.
Dun dun dun. So we literally are taking a full 180 here.
Betcha there'll be some sex in this book.
Probably. There better be for 700 fucking pages. 200 of those must be sex.
Probably.
I don't know. I can tell there's going to be a lot of murder.
Okay, 300 is murder, 200 is sex, okay?
Okay. Sounds okay. Yeah, that works. Then what happens to the other 200?
That's the plot.
Oh, okay. At first, I thought you forgot about math for a second, and I was like, that's only 500, darling.
Nope, unfortunately, I teach math.
So, yeah, join us next week as we apparently cover our first non-HEA on this podcast.
Oh, and apparently we're gonna probably cry because literally everyone tragic, broke my heart, heartbreaking, emotional damage. Literally all the reviews, that's how they're titled.
Here's the thing,
So get your
Ariel,
tissues ready for next week.
because I need to cry more, apparently.
Yeah, we all need to.
I was joking.
Well,
I
we
have
don't
cried
cry
enough.
enough on our own usually.
Excuse you. I have literally put all of the crying of my entire year into 1 month. January was 17 years long, okay?
Oh, yeah, it was.
I had way too many bad things happen to me.
But now
So,
we're gonna go to March,
yes.
which is our February, but you know.
Yeah. Still. So, anyways, with that,
Make sure to keep reading.
and keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.